If you are listening to this on or before April 1st, I want to remind you about the Homestead bundle that is on sale right now, but will be going away for 6 months after April 1st. The bundle is a collection of 100 high-quality ebooks, courses, guides, and it's only $50. If sold separately, everything in the bundle would cost over $4,900. There's no catch other than the bundle ends on April 1st. If you're interested, go to the link in the show notes, and don't forget to get the free bonus bundle I have available for you. That link will also be in the show notes. If you are a parent, especially a parent of young children, you may have experienced how difficult it is to find balance between having your own interests and hobbies and raising kids with their own interests and hobbies. Sometimes it feels like you're losing yourself to raising these amazing little humans. While this is a season of having to be more selfless, we also need to understand that without having your own interests, your children will have a hard time discovering their passions without you modeling what being passionate looks like. Today, I'm going to talk about why it's important to include your passions and interests in your homesteading journey and how that will benefit your children. This is the Homesteading for Beginners podcast, and I'm Mona Weathers, your homesteading mentor and coach. If you desire to establish a solid foundation for your homesteading journey, then you are in the right place. I'm here to show you how in a way that is healthy for you, your family, and your community. I'll share stories from the past 20 years of my own journey and offer you actionable steps you can take to start and maintain a healthy homestead. Before we become parents, we often have no problem thinking about our passions and interests, base our life on what we want. We plan the future based on the things that light us up. And then we have kids, and then everything shifts. We still have those passions and interests. We still have those things that light us up, but we shift our focus onto our kids and focus on what makes them light up. There's nothing wrong with that, except as we are supposed to model things for our children, as we're supposed to model love, as we model kindness, as we model all of the things, having manners at the table, whatever it is, we also need to model passion. And that only really comes from us being passionate about something. So my whole point here in this is that I want you to consider that whatever area you were once passionate about, bring that back in some capacity to the front of your parenting style, the parenting method, and use that as a way of modeling that for your kids. So for instance, I've always been passionate about horses. When I was a child, I dreamed of having horses. I mean, literally dreamed of it. And so throughout my childhood, I always knew that was something I wanted to include in my life, in my children's lives, and that sort of thing. So it was really hard. I'm not going to lie. Horses are expensive. I didn't own horses until my late 20s, but I didn't let go of my dream of one day owning horses. And for me, I didn't really have to own horses to make it feel like I was living my dream, but that ultimately was my dream, to have my own horses on my own property. But there was this large chunk of my early adult years where I wasn't really involved with horses much at all. And the way I dealt with that was I tried to find people who I knew that had them to be involved with their life. I also read books and watched videos and tried to educate myself during this time. I kept my passion for horses alive, and my kids knew it too. We talked about it a lot, that when we got property, my first goal was actually to get horses, not really to have a homestead. And then I started to dream of better life for my kids. And then we added more animals, but we really started our homesteading journey, our farming journey, with horses. And those, they pretty much are just an expense. There's not much other than the lifestyle of having a wonderful experience with the animal, learning how to ride better, learning how this connection. But as far as homesteading, they're not they don't give back in any other way, really. They can be used for different things like plowing, but most people don't go as that far with them anymore, except the Amish. There are people around the world that obviously still use horses for that. But in the United States, we really mainly use horses for entertainment, and they tend to be an expensive hobby. But when you have these passions, for something, it's really hard to let it go, because it's like something inside you is saying, you can't let this go. This is part of you. And so I did my best to include that passionate heart that I had for the animal to my children. Now, my husband's passion is music. And when we met, he was playing in a band. He was the lead singer of a band. And he's always just loved performing and playing music. And so he actually really instilled a strong music into our kids. Almost all of our kids have played music or are currently playing music. One of our sons is in a band, and it's called French Class Band. So if you want to check that out, you can find it on Spotify. But he has been playing music since he was 9 or 10 years old. And in no way did we ever force any of our passions onto our kids, but they saw how passionate we were about the things that we were passionate about. And obviously my husband and I both have more things that we're passionate about than just horses and music. But as much as you can during this time of being selfless and allowing your kids to have their passions and interests, just remember that in order for them to understand how to take what they are interested in, they need that modeling from you. It's like trying to pour from an empty cup. There is nothing to pour out into your children if you don't have that thing that builds you up. So your passions and interests build up your cup, and then you can pour it out onto your children and show them how they are to do it as well. Not only that, your kids will grow up one day, and you will want a hobby, or you will want a skill set that you can take into a new job, or that you can take into, recreation, having something to do outside of work. As you're building your homestead, be sure to include the things that make you unique, the things that light you up. Add that to your homestead, add that to your goals and your plans, and create the life that you want, create the life that your children will see that is something that they want to repeat as they grow into adulthood. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing that you did, but that it can be the way you did it. So I just highly encourage you to do that. Just remember that parenting includes a lot of self-reflection and self-discovery. I'm just going to end it there, but I just wanted to encourage you to pursue this idea of being a more fulfilled person, and that will help you actually be a better parent. There will be times you will not be able to do all the things that you want to do, but you can hold on to part of it in some capacity. You can show your children how you've held on to it in that capacity, and you can, model that passion. Okay, that's it for this episode and this series. If you've been enjoying this podcast, I really would appreciate a rating and review on your podcast player. I will be back next week with a new episode.